outside. Done. Done, 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 done. What happened to this? No, 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 no.
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm with a team called The Growth on investment campaigns. We've been working since 1989.
everyone. Welcome to the grand finale of UMKC Fall 2016 Hackathon. So before we start just one thing, we have a live streaming video link. So anyone you can actually share it to your friends. You can let them know that there's streaming people who can't attend the event in person. We're streaming the event live to them as well. So welcome to one and all for this event, grand finale of the UMKC Hackathon. I would once again thank our sponsors for the event. Without you guys, this event would not have been as successful as it is. So a big round of applause for all the sponsors. So without wasting much time of yours, I'll call upon our department chair, Dr. Ghulam Chowdhury, to actually address the audience, and then we'll take it from there. Dr. Ghulam, can I have you?
Well, I was talking to Dr. Lee just that we do every semester. He said, well, every fall. The fall has passed so quick that we were talking about the ridiculous library last time. And so anyway, I'm very happy to see this very positive activity among the students. And it's amazing that you learn a lot if you participate actually. It's not a waste of time. You learn skills, new projects which are not actually perhaps in the classroom. And those skills are going to be actually looking at your putting and your resume and making it very strong. Okay. A plain resume, okay, as compared to a hackathon participation, that if you have won that, that's a big plus to the winner team. Okay? And you learn your soft skills also, that working in the group and difficult moment, easy moment, and then all those are there when you work in a group. Okay? So I think it's a great exercise, and it is making a name actually that we are so proud that from externals, the outside states actually students calling, I want you to transfer here. Why? We are small university as compared to A&M, Texas A&M. Why so you have better courses and that these things are there. So we are proud of that actually. So, and all that networking and our guests, we are very thankful to the industry. They are here. They are seeing your capabilities. They are seeing that what we are actually teaching and what type of students we are preparing. Okay? So, and if you are a winner group, then you will carry that always with you that you won that. Okay? It's very tasteful kind of event when you win that hackathon and you are awarded for that. Okay? So, and I really appreciate this effort. I can relate actually on this. This is very time consuming, but it is a great help to the students, our students. Okay? So without that, I know that there's a long agenda over here, so I don't have to be on your way, but I appreciate everybody, especially our industry guests participating in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ghulam, for that lovely address. And yeah, without your support and Dr. Lee's support, this event would not have been where it is right now. So I'd like to call upon Mohammed Ali and Tim Williams from Win Solutions. They were not there for the kickoff, unfortunately, but I would like them to come on stage and just talk about Win Solutions and how they like the hackathon this time.
IT director and chief architect for Vin Solutions. Vin Solutions is actually a product that we developed. Our brand name has kind of changed and moved under the Cox Automotive software division from a product perspective. So we're really essentially research and development for Cox Automotive. I spend a lot of my time kind of building the organization around architecture and platforms. So the patterns and practices around how we build software. And then then the core pillars that we use to build all of our product offerings from. The thing that I find interesting about these kind of opportunities and looking at what you guys are doing and just the general concept of hackathons is that it's very much the same kind of thing that we do in professional software development whenever we don't quite understand what it is that we're trying to solve for, what's valuable, what's not, what works, what doesn't. We call those spikes. So hackathons are kind of like spikes where we're from in commercial software development. And that gives us an opportunity to do very much the same thing that you guys are doing with the ideas that you're bringing to the table tonight. And it kind of is the pipeline for how we get to what becomes a product. So it's really good, I think, to develop your skill set, also, also your ability to ideate products. So I'm very excited to see how you guys chose to solve the problems that you did and what technology approach you use. Because I myself also am still, while I'm in executive management, I also still write code. So I'm very interested to see what you guys did.
We have Jeremy from iVerify who's joining us today for the finale. He wasn't able to make it for the kickoff. So I would like Jeremy to talk a couple of words on how did he feel about the hackathon this time, or any other words that he has to address to the audience.
Sure. Well, I can come up with some words, I'm sure. So Jeremy Pavin from iVerify, VP of Engineering there. So I certainly could relate to some of the words that were just shared. We feel like we do hackathons on a real regular basis. At iVerify, for those of you who don't know about iVerify, we have a biometric technology that uses the veins and microfeatures around the eye to pattern match and validate who people are. One of the challenging problems that we have with that are hackers. And hackers will lots of times try to get a picture to spoof our system. So being able to tell the difference between a real person and a live person is a really challenging problem. So we have lots of teams sitting around trying to come up with ideas saying, how do we solve this problem, right? So it's like a hackathon on a real regular basis. So my interpretation of this is these are some of the best real world experiences you guys are gonna get in your college education participating in things like these. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity, and I think it will help you as you go out into the real world in the interview process and finding companies to be able to speak to these types of experiences. It's just going to give you a lot of experience and material to draw on that's going to really make you stand out in the interview process. So I think the hackathon is a great experience. Thank you.
We have Ben from DoodleKit, who again, we missed him on the kickoff, and he had a couple of use cases as well. So I would like to call him on stage and probably give his opinion on how did he feel about the hackathon and in general.
Yeah, so I'm Ben, I'm the CEO and co-founder of DoodleKit. So I was really impressed with a lot of the early things that I saw with the hackathon submissions. I think you guys are all in such a great position anyway to be studying computer science. It's a field that's going to just keep growing and growing and growing. And so to take it a step further and not just study, but go beyond that and create an application that can be used in the real world. Yeah, I think that's really impressive. So congrats to you guys for taking that extra step and moving forward.
Before we move on to the pitch teams, we have one more sponsor of ours. It's our Student Graduate Association, without whom we couldn't come up with this event. They had a very helpful hand in supporting us. So we have Navya Reddy from the Student Graduate Association. She's the president of the SGA at UMKC. So I'd like to call upon the stage and talk about the hackathon in general, or how does she feel about the hackathon in general?
I don't have much to talk about hackathon, because when they talk about hacking something, I'm like, girl, that's not my stuff. I feel that everybody is doing a great job when they hack something or when they are coding in anything, because that is something really valuable to me. But I have a general advice for you guys about life and achieving things. Never give up, never give in. Just go and get it, because you guys are already winners. Everybody whosoever came here are doing something commendable. You are doing something extraordinary apart from your co-curriculums. So good luck and all the best.
Thank you. with that round of introductions done, we'll move on to the first set of presentations that we have. It's the pitch category. So again, I'll give you a quick brief about the guidelines. You guys, all the teams will have 5 minutes. Each team will have 5 minutes. You can use that 5 minutes in whichever way you want. You can use it for presentation as well as the video. There's not going to be any demo as such. You'll only be showing your video that you actually had uploaded yesterday. And there'll be a person who will be showing you the timer countdown. We'll begin from 3, 2, 1, and after that there'll be a buzzer. We really don't want people to cross over the 5-minute mark because there could be negative points there. And at the end of each presentation, we'll have 2 minutes of question and answers. We'll probably limit the questions to 3 at the max from the audience and the judges. And once that is done, the next team can be ready for their presentation. So we'll start off with the first pitch team. It's DST Resume Maker by Rules. Can we have all these members on the stage, please? Pooja, Sama, Daniel, and Monica.
Okay, hello everyone, my name is Sama and I will be presenting our work throughout the hackathon. Our project is called Digital Resume, and we're trying to collect information from different professional networks and provide a digital resume that can be shared with companies. So when you think of resumes, you think of paper, and believe it or not, more than millions of pounds of paper are being wasted each year. And 120,000 pounds of paper can help thousands of trees to 22,000 gallons of oil and more than 400,000 gallons of water. So if you look at the regular resume that you have usually, we thought of a way where we can share that resume instead of having the whole paper, just use the QR code. So I have my business card right here, and I have my resume right here at the back. So now if you have a QR code reader, you can just scan that and you can see my resume. So if you guys have any QR code reader, you can try that. So here we can show what we did. So we used WebStorm as our IDE. The front end was developed using HTML5, Bootstrap, CSS. Back end we used JavaScript and Node.js. So what we did was we called the APIs from GitHub, LinkedIn, and Stack Overflow to provide that kind of digital resume. And then we used Google Charts to create the QR code. Finally, we deployed our project into Cloud Lab, where we can, where that QR code actually works. So for the state diagram, we have starting from the beginning. The candidate provides professional accounts, their accounts, and then the system retrieves the information from the candidate's account. The next step is that the candidate will be receiving a customized digital resume and the QR code that they can share. They can either share it with the people so that you can use the QR reader in your phone or your device to check out the resume, or you can just look at it from your laptop. So I'm going to show a demo right now. So we're going to show a quick demo of our web application. First, I'm going to sign in using LinkedIn. This authorization window will show up where you can provide your account information. Next, I'm going to provide my GitHub account, username, and my Stack Overflow user ID. Once you provide those information, our application is ready to generate your digital resume. Here we are viewing the format of the digital resume generated. On the right, your personal information is retrieved from LinkedIn. On the left, looking at the GitHub tab, you can access the candidate's account by clicking on their name. In addition, we provide links to the candidate's repositories where you can view their contribution. Going over to the Stack Overflow tab, several information is retrieved, such as reputation, badges, and involvement. Scrolling down, you can see a summary of the candidate's current position on the right, in addition to a shareable QR code on the left. Moreover, you can visit the candidate's Stack Overflow account by clicking on his link. Now, I'm going to show how the sharing of the digital resume works. Using any QR code reader on your device, you can access candidate's resume easily. Finally, our application is compatible with multiple devices. So here I'm going to show how our application is going to look when using any type of device. For example, here I'm logging in using a phone screen. In addition, the application is also compatible for tablets, iPad, or even in the phone landscape mode. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Yeah, okay, so, so your application, so let's say that, I mean, how does it cache this, information on a server somewhere, or is this a stumble line every time a user scans your QR code?
So the first idea was to use MongoDB to save the information of the user. We didn't get the time to do that. Right now, you do it every time you open the web application. But you can use that information stored in some database and then view it. Yeah.
We thought provide the ability to download it as a PDF or something so that I have it stored.
We didn't actually, but downloading it as a PDF, yeah, that would be very helpful. I mean, the digital resume should be available even offline, right?
Right.
That's not. Okay, so I'll let everyone of the team talk about their contribution. Pooja?
I started working on maintenance, pulling data from GitHub. And I actually worked on a part of GitHub, getting data from about the languages that people use generally are acquainted with on GitHub. That was shown.
My share was the Stack Overflow API, so I work with the REST part of that service.
And I guess I just work with multiple stuff. I work with JavaScript.
candles, I'll just change the presentation by just state candles. Can you have you on stage, please?
Good evening. We are Team Kangaroo, and today we're going to present our container registry system. Docker Container brought a piece of software in a complete file system that contains everything needed to run a code, runtime, software tools, and system libraries. This enables and guarantees that the software will always run the same regardless of the environment. In this hackathon, we have created a Docker container system registry where a customer can create, they can delete, auto provision, check billing, and manage a chosen container resource on Docker and host it on Google Cloud virtual systems. We implemented a round-robin resource allocation. Customer can manage using a friendly user interface, which eliminates the struggle of technical understanding of how to configure Docker, web services, Google virtual machines. We also provided additional advantage to replicate and specify computer resource per services. Here is our container registry system architecture, which includes, you can see there are 4 virtual machines and 4 virtual machines and a swarm controller, so a swarm cluster. So the controller can access each one of the virtual machines using the Docker REST API, or it can access the master, the swarm master, using the swarm REST API. So we use round-robin percentage of resource allocation on a machine. And I will be prompted to enter the RAM and the CPU for the container I'm going to reserve. And here's my first container. Let me validate that it is working. And yes, it is. Now I will reserve the second container, and a port number. And here's my second container, so now I'd like to validate that it works. And yes, it is working. Now I would like to validate the statistics information for these. Now I'd like to validate the removal of those containers. So I have 2 containers. I'm going to remove the first one, validate that it is no longer working, and it's not. Let me remove the second one, and I will validate that it's not available anymore. Yes, it is. Next, I'd like to create a cluster. And here also I will be prompted to enter the memory and the CPU. And here are my nodes. Now I'd like to validate they work. So so I'll put in the right host number and the port number. There it is, so it's working. I'd like to validate the statistics information for the cluster. So I'll check the statistics for the swarm services, and here is my statistics information. Next, I would like to validate removing the swarm services, and I will delete that and check to see if it is removed. And it is removed. This concludes our presentation. Hi, this is the
We take questions for the team.
Okay, look, I wanted to ask basically about how we went about implementing the actual back-end code that starts up the computers and brings them down.
Actually, we implemented a controller in JSP. So for the backend, we use the Mongo app and that was it. So in the JSP code will specify the resource which will be available.
So I guess what I wanted to know was I guess, how did you run, like, how did you build a Docker run commands? That's what I really
Oh, and the JSP by using the REST API.
Okay.
And we have tested the efficiency and
Thank you. So the next team that we have is not the NSA. That's what they said. They promised they are not the NSA. We hope they are not. Can we have them on stage, please?
Welcome.
Here's the device. Tested on 3 users. One advanced.
Greetings, friends, colleagues, and judges. I am Justin Baraboo, and this is Brendan O'Connor, and we are team Not the NSA. We promise. We are very humbled to be here during my first hackathon with the second and making it this far. We are presenting our solution iSpy, which is the solution to iVerify's first use case, where the objective was to design an image capture process an UI that makes it easy for the users to correctly position the phone, capture their face and eye regions, and do it in a CPU non-intensive way. Our assumption here was that the area that the user's face takes up in the screen will be relative to the how much the distance is between them. So if you take up the correct area, the distance will be correct. So our solution was to create a scale and variant mask creator that's going to plot features, which we call masks, relative to the user's facial location and proportions, such that if their face is centered and the correct distance, the mask would fit them correctly. And we wanted to do this in an ab initio way, where we didn't have to take any photo of the user or any face proportions beforehand to know how to do this. We wanted to make this a fun image game system instead of text or direction based, as that would be fraught with errors and frustration of having to fix because we unfix stuff and trying to fix other things. We also wanted to utilize the most powerful neural network, the human neural network, and use humans to be able to learn while the game is fun of how they position the camera, and when the novelty wears off, they'll be able to use the visual cues on where they need to position for efficient reading. So our architecture is just a basic Android SDK with the Google Mobile Vision API on top of it, and then we are dancing on top of that because it did a lot of the legwork for us to be able to get right into this project. Because it allows us to find the facial region and the landmarks such as nose, eyes, and other things like that, as well as tilting. The only possible problem with it is that it overestimates the top of the head, as we'll see later in our demo. So here's our workflow. Which we call the reverse Snapchat approach, because in Snapchat you fit a filter to your face, and as your face moves around, it moves the filter around with it. Here we're going to fit a filter to the screen, and you're going to fit your face around to match the filter. So what we do is we take in the camera data, and we find the user's face. Then we perform side rescales to figure out what the proportions would need to be to get the correct area on the screen, and we center that for them. Then we also determine their face proportions, so we know how far it is until we get to their mouth, our nose, and things like that. And then we use these informations to determine the relative position of and to rescale basic masks and filters at the correct distance and place it correctly in the image. Then what happens is when the user fits the correct location and is correctly identified, we're going to see a gray bar start loading at the top and then an unlock animation if they've been there long enough. So now we'll move on to the demo portion of our
Two brand new users. Here's the device being tested on 3 users. When advanced, 2 brand new users using the software. As it becomes easier to remember the location of the mustache as you train yourself how to maneuver and use it, the advanced user finishes quickly. Do note the gray bar and the unlock mechanism. The brand new users are able to finish fairly well and don't look miserable while they're doing it. The bounding boxes are also not necessary to show and can be removed if found clunky, as shown in the second video. The lines there are proportional lines which will give insight into how our app works. Finally, glasses and other things can obstruct the view and can be taken off, and once they are, the right location is found easily. One of the things most impressed me was that when she was using the software, she would smile a lot, and the mustache would sort of transform along with that smile. So we wanted to push that to the extreme and show that the scaling is working as intended, as shown here by Brendan. It's going to really distort his lips, and the mustache is going to be redrawn and scaled with it. Another thing to notice is that the mask is redrawn, but only when we have enough landmarks to do so. It's going to be redrawn each time we do. This is mostly to prove that everything's working as intended, because in the real use, you would probably take the median of a couple hundred frames or so you don't have to recompute the mask each time, which would save some view. Finally, we'd like to thank you all for watching this demo, choosing us to be as a finalist of the UMKC 2016 Fall Hackathon. Thank you.
We take questions for the team.
Probably just at the beginning, why did you use an Android SDK as opposed to iOS or
mostly because I know how to program in Android and not iOS, and the use case itself asks for an Android app.
Okay.
So when your face is in the right location, it needs to stay there long enough for a biometric scan. And so as you keep keep it in the correct location for the scan to happen, the gray bar will fill up. So once you start moving your face tank, it's out of the region for the scan, you have to recenter it and do that again. No. It's so the bounding boxes are checking to see if you're within those rectangles, and when you are, the gray bar will be pressed because your face will be centered and in the correct area.
Follow up on that. How long does it need to be within the frame? I can see my hand moving.
Yeah, so that would be up to iVerify of how long it needs to and what threshold you have to set it to in order to get a good standard. We didn't have it for that long.
Thank you. So the next team for which we have is Avengers. Can we have Avengers on stage, please?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandeep and I'm from Team Avengers. The use case given to us is a H&S scoring application. We are asked to create a hackathon site for the hackathon event. So we're asked to it consists of two roles, the host role and the judge role. The host can add an event, he can add users to the event, and he can also view the published results. Whereas the judge, he can score the groups and he can publish the results. The kind of a technology, the architecture diagram is that we're using a Mongo lab to store the details of the users and the events and also the results. And we have created a Angular single page application. We have used the mean stack. We have used HTML5, Bootstrap, jQuery for the front end, and Angular and MongoDB for the back end. So let us look into the application.
Avengers, and our use case is H&S scoring application. So let us look into the application. It consists of two modules, a login module and a registration module. A user can register himself as a host or as a judge. So let us log in as a host. A host can
Electrical power.